Hey guys, welcome back. I am Terry Ann Russell. This is Sacred Wellness. Today we're talking about nervous system dysregulation and the rise of somatic burnout. How do we reclaim our power through sacred wellness? Let's break it down. So let's first talk about nervous system burnout, somatic overload, and perfectionism. How do we come back to our body? How do we unlearn everything that we've been on this sort of automatic mode for all these years? First, let me tell you that we're not just tired. We are spiritually starved. Our physical, our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual. It's soul deep, soul deep. Everyone seems like today they are talking about burnout. It's a big topic everywhere, not just in the spiritual community, but in other communities as well. And I'm here to tell you that it's broad. It goes over all of those things I've just mentioned. Our physical's tired, our mental's tired, our emotional's tired, and our friggin' soul is tired. They're like, hey, look, guys, I've had enough. It's time for us to sort of learn a new way of doing. We're in a society, unfortunately, that glorifies all of this perfectionism, our worth. We tie it into so much of everything and anything that we do. We look for others to give us that instead of looking within ourselves for that. Sacred wellness really begins with the powerful intellectual, spiritual melding of how do we come back to center? How do we figure out who we are? How do we stop people pleasing? How do we stop this perfectionism that continually exists within us? Sacred wellness really begins when we stop pretending. We stop pretending that there is this beautiful, perfect picture in our social media lives that we share with everybody every day. Hey guys, this went great today. Everything was awesome. Often we depict this picture of who we want people to believe that we are, and we are not that person. I often share a lot of my struggles because I believe, as a person that is sharing my voice, it's important for me to share my struggles as well. Share my struggles, not only share my struggles, but share my triumphs, right? We've also been taught not to pat ourselves on the back for that. So what exactly are we looking at today? As we break this episode down, I want you to sort of become in a place of pause, come to a place of getting real and reclaiming your right to heal. And whether that means raw, messy, sacred, beautiful, enveloping, exhausted, whatever that is for you, give yourself the grace and the permission to stand tall and do that today. First, I want to talk a little bit about somatic overload and what the nervous system does when it's dysregulated. This, I feel like, is an invisible epidemic for our society. Our nervous systems are fried. They're frozen in fear, stuck in survival mode, and addicted to overdoing. We're always overdoing. We're doing something. We have to keep busy. If we're not keeping busy, and I've said this before, if we're not keeping busy, we're lazy. We have these old identified limiting beliefs that continually run as programs within our mind. And unfortunately, a lot of us continue to run on those programs. So somatic burnout is real. How do you feel when you're alone? Do you feel exhausted? Does your soul feel exhausted? You may be doing exactly what lights you up. You feel great about it. And in the time that you're doing it, it's a high. It's wonderful. But then again, your soul feels tired because you've not healed the underlying limiting beliefs that are coming from that space. Most of us don't even realize today that we live in a normalized living space of dysregulation. Our nervous system is so overworked and so overwhelmed. It causes so many other illnesses and diseases, symptoms, inflammation, things like that. And it keeps us in this state of continually doing and doing and doing. When I teach clients how to listen to their body, I teach them not just how to listen, but how to override, how to hack that nervous system into a new way of being. And when I say being, that is because we are moving into that place of being. I'd like for all of you to share, if you're out there with me today, how often do you not get into a place of just being? I was on a show the other day and I shared the importance for me as an empathetic, intuitive being in this overwhelming world, how important it is for me to shut out the world, how much time I spend alone in nature, hiking, in the water, surrounded by the beauty of the plants and the animals, because it's so important for me to be in that grounding state again after I've been in this chaos of the world, right? It's overwhelming. We continually do, and we don't get enough time to just be. I want to talk a little bit about perfectionism because that's a huge thing that I have struggled with personally over the years. It ties into not only my childhood, but then my marriage as well, my last marriage. Because as a perfectionist, you want to achieve. And the more you achieve, the more you want to continue to achieve. But often it is not for you. It is for others, and it's for others to see you as this person that is, doing well and succeeding and being out there. And I can tell you honestly, as a perfectionist, that I never, ever, ever achieve what I want to achieve, whether that's I'm painting as an artist. That's one of my biggest struggles today that I still work on is, I'm painting. Is that picture ever perfect enough for me? When I'm writing, is that writing ever perfect enough for me? I still struggle with limiting beliefs concerning perfectionism. I'm not a recovering perfectionist because I'm not recovered. I'm still in the midst deep of those perfectionist things that I tell myself. And let's talk a little bit about where they come from. I know I spent a lot of time talking about childhood, but in childhood, in that environment, that's where those limiting beliefs are from. A lot of those limiting beliefs come from our childhood. And you can sit here and say, well, I had a great childhood. I had nothing go on in my childhood. I had no trauma. I had great parents, and that's all well and good. But every one of us have limiting beliefs, and I'm here to tell you that today. Every one of us out there have limiting beliefs. We work on it continually. It's a process. So where does it come from? It starts with genetics, your environment, and learned behaviors. Our childhood specifically holds many of our limiting beliefs. If you had controlling parents, if you had parents that were hypercritical, if you had parents that were demanding, and maybe they did it out of love. I mean, often I would hear, it's because I love you. It's because I love you that I'm so hard on you. I want you to be better. I want you to do better. I want you to have confidence in yourself. And ultimately, what happened was, as I grew up, I became this perfectionist that I could never achieve these goals for myself, even that I wanted to achieve because I was always trying to reach this goal of perfectionism that I didn't think that I had. It was tied to my worth. This achievement that I was doing was tied to my worth. And so a lot of that for me in that time, and even today, obviously it's much better today than it was 5 years ago. But even today, I still struggle with moments that I am stuck in this perfectionist phase. And I can tell you a lot of it really happens when I'm doing my writing or when I'm creating art. I'm really hard on myself in those spaces. So I wonder if I could go back and be on a fly on the wall when I was a child. I remember using a typewriter back then to create these stories. And as I did that, I remember hearing things that, oh, maybe I needed a comma here, or maybe I needed to add more in this piece. And those things contributed to or maybe it was my artwork and I was drawing or painting. I never felt like I was a successful painter versus a successful drawer because my painting has always, I felt, struggled in that area. So when I create today, I create very abstract stuff, stuff that you cannot specifically look at and say, okay, well, this is that or that is this. And that's one of the reasons that I do that today is because I've worked a way around it for myself. I found an alternative way to when you're doing something abstract, there's nothing that I can say to myself that's going to cause me to say, hey, that's a perfectionist aspect that's coming through there. I want to talk a little bit about how perfectionism gets in the way of our sacred wellness because this show is about sacred wellness and about contributing to all of the areas to create a complete being within ourselves, right? Where does this lie within us? We talked about where it comes from, but where does it lie within us? So maybe you do have some self-worth issues concerning perfectionism. Maybe for you, within you, it's felt within your solar plexus. Maybe that worth and that confidence for whatever you do just is never enough for you. And so many of us work in that space of overwhelm. If we don't have time to stop and think or stop and do, then we can just continually keep going and going and going. And this sort of fortifies, keeps us in that space of overwhelm. So you could feel it in your gut. You could feel it in your heart. You could feel it in your back of your shoulders. You could feel like you carry the world of this perfectionist picture that you want to present to everybody. Are you a realtor? Are you out there working, striving, hustling, always looking for the perfect picture to come through when you're selling a house or the perfect video to present to the world so that, oh my gosh, look at that place. That person made that place and that realtor was so important in that space of learning to do that so that they could be there, right? I wish I could just be there in that space, or I wish I could be like that person more. We want it to all look perfect on the outside so that we never have to look on the inside. Let's break it down a little further. You'll often hear me speak about the breath. The breath is something that we take for granted. Many of us breathe through the day, not even acknowledging that we're breathing. I'd like you to leave that in the comments. How many of us sit out there and just take a deep, complete sigh? Feel that oxygen run through your body. Feel that energy pulse through you, through your veins, through your blood, through your bones, through your cells. How many of us take a minute to even acknowledge the power that it takes for us to breathe? Because it's so involuntary. But when we focus on the breath and we take that time, we learn a new way. The breath is the bridge between chaos and calm. I'm going to say that again for you. The breath is the bridge between chaos and calm. And as a society, we have forgotten how to use this. I want you to sit with me a minute or two, and I want you to take a couple of deep breaths with me. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like the world is on your shoulders, if you feel like your nervous system is frazzled and you're running on empty, but you continue to run because you know no other way, take a moment and take a deep breath. Breathe it in from your belly, all the way up to the top of your head. And then hold it there for a moment, imagining that it's just there in this beautiful cloud of breath. And hold it for as long as you can, and then I want you to blow it out. Another one, deep breath in and hold it. And breathe it out. Feel that breath run through you. It is sacred. Things like Reiki, hypnosis, breath work, that all brings us back. It clears the energy fields and offers a safe and soft landing for your nervous system. Often, if we feel frazzled or overwhelmed, just a few moments in our day, it can be sitting in the car, taking a few deep breaths before you go to your next meeting. It can be just a moment in time, just a moment where you clear your energy field and you start fresh. I use the word sacred often because I feel like it promotes a new level of transcendence when I speak about what we're actually doing for the physical, the body, the mind, and the soul. How do we incorporate the three into our daily lives? And that's really what this channel is about. Transcendence, trust, healing. Talk a little bit now about how healing goes beyond the body. We talked a lot about in the physical, this physical life that we have, how the energy is overwhelmed. But what if that energy comes from a soul memory? What if you came from another life that held chaos? That soul memory is carried through time. It's carried through time. It's not even from this life, but it's held within our body and it's held within our energy fields. Spiritual hypnosis and soul retrieval goes beyond the body. It allows us to go find those lost pieces of ourselves, those pieces that are often trapped. They're trapped in these loops of past pain, of overwhelm, and of chaos. Often during sessions, people will share in a spiritual hypnosis session through their higher self that they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed with everything that's occurring in that life, in the chaos that's going on in that life. During these sessions, people may laugh, they may cry, they may take deep breaths, they may begin to hold their body where that pain is held. One time I had a client in a spiritual hypnosis session that had died. And as we were observing her moving through that life, she clutched her belly and she felt that pain rushing through as she was stabbed in that instance. And even as the observer, she was able to witness that piece of her soul life, that soul life that ended at that moment. And she gained a new understanding of what that really meant for her now in this life. What trauma, what pain, what led up to that, what she could have did differently in those moments. So I want you to think about that for a moment. Often we're not just regulating our nervous system, We are regulating the truth within us. It's our soul's truth. Often we all believe that we are a soul or a spirit, and many of us believe that we came here with a purpose. We came to grow, we came to heal, and we came to evolve. And often we do that through lessons, through experiences, and through integration. Our soul is always guiding us through this process. We are never alone. We have many that stand on the other side, and we have that piece of our soul within us that is fully connected to all of that. When you think about that and you know and you understand that with every piece of you, you begin to see a bigger perspective, the bigger perspective of the soul's truth. So why do we get caught in this loop of overwhelm and continually doing, doing, doing? Whether it's doing for others, doing for our career or work or families, doing for friends, continually providing, continually giving, continually working. And we think, okay, I'm going to slow down and go on vacation for a week and that'll be great and I'll come back and I'll be refreshed. But often what we do on vacation is exactly the same thing. We continually run. We try to set up every experience imaginable so that we can experience the physical life here. And then we turn around and we share it on social media for everybody to say, hey, look, this is what I did. I'm guilty of that too. I'm always looking for the perfect picture, the perfect snapshot of a moment in time. And for me, that's because I lost so much when my son passed, moments that I'll never have again. So I'm always looking for that. Oh, this could be the moment, right? This could be the perfect moment in time that I can freeze in time and always look back on this if something happens to someone else. So for me, I know exactly what that's about. I know what that's about. But I also still do not want to take that chance and miss the perfect shot for me to ever go back and look. And I take pictures of myself too, because I've learned over the years now that if I don't take pictures of myself, I'm the picture taker. My stepdaughter just said it. We did a scavenger hunt for her birthday a few weeks ago. And she's like, let mom be the photographer and take all the pictures for the scavenger hunt because she takes the pictures. And because she knows I have thousands of pictures of them when they were little. And those are memories that after my husband and I are gone, that they will be able to cherish and look back at and say, look how little we were here. Do you remember when we did this? Do you remember when we did that? But also as that person that takes that picture, that is looking for that moment when my daughters are sitting on the beach, watching the water and the waves come in with their heads just touching on one another. That perfect shot of a moment in time that they'll never forget. So that does add a lot of pressure to that. I enjoy doing it, but it also adds the pressure of that to it. So that's something I just thought I'd share a little bit about me and my pressures that I hold within me. I am a perfectionist. I am type A, and I try to balance that with my spiritual, intuitive side daily so that I can have that balance within me. But I do recognize that's a piece of me. I don't always try to change that. I'm always striving to look for other ways to sort of let that perfectionism go about that. But because I am an artist, I also look at the world differently. I want to talk a little bit about why sacred wellness isn't self-care. And we need so much more than self-care right now. It's like our soul's rebellion. Our soul is like, hey, dude, you need to slow it down. Just going for a massage or going, time to get away is just not going to cut it anymore. There's a deeper level that needs to be reached nowadays. And honestly, I feel wonderful about it. I think it's a great place for us to be in. We're recognizing it more than ever. There are all these alternative ways for us to be able to sort of go deeper and connect with what that is. In fact, after the last few days, I've been struggling with this thought of being a perfectionist. And I thought, what a great way an opportunity showed up for me to have a healing with a Buddhist monk that will be in town in Phoenix this week. And I was like, that's something that my soul really needs from me. So why not just do it? So let's look at some soul things, right? We want to talk about sacred wellness and how it's not just taking a salt bath or sitting in the sun. It's deeper. It's deeper than that. Often when we do a healing like I just described, or an energy healing, shadow work, inner child work, grief work, anger. Anger, I think, is underestimated and the power that it holds. You know, listening to a drumming session, that may bring up a lot of anger for you. It does for me often. And then surrendering to what that is. So we want to be in the space of deeper. And then there are times when we need it to be a little easier. And so maybe, yes, a salt bath is exactly what you need. Maybe sitting in the sun by the beach is exactly what you need. Maybe a night away at a hotel alone is exactly what you need. But only you can decide what it is that you need for you. It's about time we started choosing ourselves. We have to choose ourselves. Over and over, I'll say this again, it is not selfish. We need to put those limiting beliefs to rest and say yes. Say yes to yourself, not just spiritually, not just physically, not just mentally, but somatically say yes to yourself. How can you say yes to yourself today? As I state a call to action here now, I want you to take a moment and find something that you can do. You and you alone that you can do for you and say yes. Maybe you have a calendar full of meetings today and you decide to say yes to yourself and cancel it all just to go spend the day in the pool. Maybe today that's what that looks like for you. And then I want you to take the time to go back and look at that and look at what comes up for you and see if you have those limiting beliefs around what you just did when you canceled all those meetings. When you have to go back and think about it now, because I did it on a whim and I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, holy shit, did I just cancel a whole day of meetings and spend the day in the pool? What the hell did I just do? That's where I want you to be, and that's where I want you to look at. So there's nothing passive about healing. When we're healing, we're doing immense cellular work on ourselves. It's an invitation for you to sort of begin to regulate, learn what that looks like for you. Take that practice and begin to do things like that for yourself. Take your hands and place it over your heart today and ask yourself, your body, what do you need to feel sacred today? What is it that you need? I'm a generator of energy, so I tune into my body for almost everything that I do, everything that I'm asked to do, and everything that I want to do. And sometimes I may get a no. But when I held my hands on my heart or I held my hands on my belly and I feel it and I say, what do you need today to feel sacred? What is it for you to come home? And how can I return here? Help me find the way today. Help me see what I often don't see. Help me see what I'm missing and see what comes up for you. I hope what we talked about today resonated with you. And if you watched any of my shows or had a session with me, I ask you to leave a comment. Let me know how it went. If you did take the day today to decide that today was going to be a yes to you day, let me know how that went for you. If this hits close to home, and I know for a lot of you it does. I know there's a lot of you watching in Forest City, North Carolina. That's one of my biggest hits where I get views from. Just want to give a shout out to you there, North Carolina, my husband's home state. Share this episode with somebody that you feel is stuck in survival mode. Follow, subscribe, and share and explore more of my sacred wellness work at my website at Linktree under Terry Ann Russell. And I want you to remember, you're not too much. You're not broken. What you are doing is sacred, and you're coming back to life. You are relearning new ways to connect with you. You are the most important person in your life. So I ask you to take that with you today. You are the most important person in your life. And I'll ask you to go into the world and share that beauty that resides within you. Until next time, I am the host, Terry Ann Russell, and this is Sacred Wellness.